Good day everyone, especially to you ma'am. I am Amir Maulana, the first reporter in Group 2, and I will be discussing the national budget and the budget cycle of Chapter 2 or the budget process. So first is national budget. So what exactly is national budget? So we know that budget means the money you have allotted for specific expenses in a certain time period, or it is more like a plan. For example, my allowance in a week is 1,000 pesos. Now I have to budget that properly to allocate my expenses and avoid overspending. Anyways, national budget is the budget of a country. So for example, the Philippines has a national budget of a staggering 5.678 trillion as of 2024. So the government gets its money from taxes and several fees which are gathered from the people as we pay our taxes and avail services like those of the national government, namely permits, licenses, registration, accreditation fees, clearance and certification fees, as well as fees collected for specific services such as medical and laboratory examinations. According to the book, government accounting is primarily budgetary accounting. Government accounting does not only aim to provide information on past events and transactions, but also budget information in accordance with PPSAS 24. The Philippine Constitution and other laws require government funds to be utilized in accordance with the national budget that is duly approved by legislation. The national budget or government budget is the government's estimate of the sources and use of government funds within a fiscal year. This forms the basis of expenditures and is the government's key instrument for promoting its socio-economic objectives. The national budget will primarily be used to support the implementation of various programs and projects that best promote the development of the country. Through the budget, the government can prioritize and put into action its plans, programs, and policies within the constraints of its financial capability as dictated by economic conditions. Therefore, government accounting is concerned with providing information useful in assessing the conformance of utilizations of government funds with the approved budget. Next is budget cycle. It is composed of 4 parts, namely budget preparation, budget legislation, budget execution, and budget accountability. The 4 phases of the budget cycle overlap in continuing cycles. While the executive implements the budget for the current year, it also prepares the budget for the next fiscal year or defends it before Congress. At the same time, the government monitors, evaluates, and reports on actual performance year-round. So under the budget preparation, we have the following in order: budget calls, citizen engagement, RDC consultations, program convergence, agency Tier 1 proposals or ongoing expenditures, Tier 1 deliberations, budget priorities framework, agency Tier 2 proposals or new or expanded spending, Tier 2 deliberations, presentation to President and Cabinet, confirmation and finalization, and the President's budget. Next is the budget legislation, and under it is also as follows: House deliberations, Senate deliberations, bicameral deliberations, ratification and enrollment, and enactment of the GAA. Next is the budget execution, and under it is also as follows: early procurement activities, budget program, allotment release, obligation, cash allocation, and disbursement. Lastly, we have the budget accountability, and under it is also in order: performance targets, citizen engagement, monitoring and evaluation, agencies accountability reports, performance review, in-year reports, DBCC mid-year report, DBCC year-end report, and audit report. And that's all for the discussion. Thank you for listening.
Good day, classmate. Good day, ma'am. I am Robert Luzano Jr. and my topic for today is budget preparation. The budget preparation process involves creating a detailed plan for how an organization will allocate its financial resources over a specific period of time. This process typically involves gathering information on expected revenues and expenses, setting financial goals, and making decisions on how allocate funds to various department or projects. So, sa budget preparation is nakapaloob dito yung mga plans ng each department or agencies in a period of time. Dito rin makikita yung mga informasyon kung paano gagastasin yung resources or expenses and ano ang financial goals ng isang agencies and yung mga projects for incoming year or this year. So, sa budget preparation sa Pilipinas, meron tayong dalawang approach. Ito ang bottom-up and top-down. Sa bottom-up approach, under dito is ang lowest government agencies and highest government agencies. Sa bottom-up, nauuna ang pagsiset ng budgeting sa pinakamababa na agencies ng government. Kabaliktaran nito ang top-down approach. Nauuna ang sa itaas. Ang itaas ang nagsiset ng budgeting goals ng agencies. Incremental and zero-based budgeting. Sa incremental budgeting is the traditional budgeting method whereby the budget is prepared by taking current period's budget or actual performance as a base with incremental amount then being added for new budget period. So, sa incremental, ito yung dating approach na ginagamit ng Pilipinas kung saan tinitignan yung previous, halimbawa 2024, nagbe-base ang 2024 budget sa previous budget na 2023 na budget ng Pilipinas. Kung ano lang yung budget ng 2023 at halimbawa kung may kulang or may sobra, yun ang tinitignan ng Senado or Kongreso. Kung kailangan pa ba yun siya na projects or may mga project pa ba na kailangan doon o hindi na, para kung sakali yung budget ng 2024 is dadagdagan na lang or babawasan. Dito naman tayo sa zero-based budgeting. Means, budgeting by justify and approving all expenses for each accounting period rather than basing it on your past spending. So, ito, for 2025 na budget, nagpropose ang president ng ganitong budget. So, yun. Approving all expenses ang nakalagay. So, ina-approve na lang siya. Hindi na siya kino-compare sa 2024 budget. Yung 2025 budget is i-approve na lang siya. By starting from zero base yun. Zero base at beginning of each budget. You can create a really effective process on analyzing and deciding where to allocate your funds. So, yun na nga. Sabi dito, mas effective yung zero-based budgeting kasi back to zero Naka-base siya sa mga projects na gagawin. Unlike dati na kailangan mo parang i-recheck yung mga dating projects kung natapos ba or wala, then dadagdagan na lang yung budget. So, yun siguro yung nangyayari na hindi natatapos yung ibang project kasi dagdag sila ng dagdag, hindi naman ginagawa, diba? So, mas maganda yung zero-based budget para back to zero, magawa ulit or panibago na naman. So, budget call. Budget call means written instruction or president of the president to the Republic to any budget activity regarding preparation of an annual budget, including without limitation format, order, arrangement, contents, narrative justification, and due date issued by DVM. So DVM means Department of Budget and Management. So budget call means written instruction of President to Republic any budgeting activity regarding preparation and annual budget. So yun, pag nagbigay na ang Department of Budget and Management ng budget call na galing sa President, ibig sabihin nun, each agencies or halimbawa, mayors, governor, mga ganyan, magpro-provide na sila ng budget, annual budget proposal or preparation regarding dito sa mga projects or mga kailangan nilang budget sa kanilang nasasakupan para ma-inform naman yung president na ganito ang budget na kailangan nila. So under dito may relevant terms, yung mga budget na kailangan. So andito na balanced budget. Ito, number 1, balanced budget. Ang balanced budget is a financial plan allowing an individual or company to determine the revenue required to ensure the equal organization's projected expenses. So, sa balanced budget is tinitignan yung mga budget proposed ng iba't ibang agencies para masigurado na balance yung expenses na maibibigay ng gobyerno sa kanila. So, sa annual budget is financial plan that outlines an organization projected revenues and expenses for upcoming fiscal year. It helps to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently and that financial goals are met. So, parang lang sila, 'di ba, magkalapit na. Pero ito annually, yearly ginagawa para ma-sure na yung goals or financial goals ng each agencies is ma-met nung mga expenses or budget na ibibigay ng gobyerno sa kanila, magamit nila sa mga expenses nila, walang kulang, walang bawas. So special budgets compiled outside the general budget in response to major emergencies, circumstances, and terms special. For example, dito yung mga emergency disaster relief fund. So, yun ba yung mga sakuna, bagyo, like bagyo, lindol, ganyan. So, may special fund doon yung government. Yun na yung tinatawag na special budget. Line item budget. A type of budget that lists each individual expenses category line item separately along with the amount budget for each category, including salaries, wage, travel expenses, supplies, materials, and equipments. So, sa line item budget naman is, halata naman, di ba, dito pa lang sa term na salaries, wage, yun na yung budget para dito sa salaries ng mga tao ng each agencies, wages, yung mga travels in tours or seminars, expenses, supplies, yung mga ballpen, bond paper, ink, and other equipments. So, yun na yun. Ang tawag dun sa budget na yun is line item budget. Next is performance budget. Ones that reflects both the input and of resource and output of service for each unit of an organization. The main focus is on work to be done and service to be rendered. So, sa performance budget, focus on the result. It asks the question that why the money is being spent. So, bakit ginasto yung pera na yun? Para saan? Yun. So, sa advantage naman niya is set accountability. So, accountable yung taong may hawak ng budget kung saan niya ito gagamitin. Clear purpose. Yun, pinapakita yung purpose kung bakit siya gagastusin. Improvement and performance. Yun na nga, siguro pag kompleto yung napakita mo, halimbawa may mga resibo ka na, dyan yung ginasta, may mga pag-liquidate yun, nakita lahat yun, nagtugma sa budget na binigay sa'yo, and yung paano mo siya ginasta or ginamit. So siguro mag-i-improve yung performance mo as a worker. So transparency, yun na nga. Ang disadvantage naman niya is subject in nature, strong system of evaluation, manipulate of data, difficult for long-term projects. So sa long-term project, parang ang example dito is yung mga hindi natatapos ng mga kalsada, mga buildings, di ba? Marami silang pinapakitang dokumento, pero pag i-recheck naman yun na nga yung, di ba sa Senado dati yung pinupuna ni Sir Rapi Tulfo na hindi humingi sila ulit ng fund pero hindi pala natapos yung irrigation, parang ganun dude, na manipulate yung papers. So obligatory budget focus on expenditures incurred in current year which are to be paid either the same year on or in following year. So obligatory budget is yung mga expenses na dapat bayaran ng isang agencies, pwede siyang bayaran ngayong year or either next year. So yun na yun, obligatory budget. So ngayon, dadako naman tayo sa budget hearing. Budget hearing conducted after agencies submit their budget proposal. So budget hearing ginagawa after na submit ng agencies yung kanilang budget proposal. Halimbawa ng mayor, ng governor. Tapos dadaan ito sa DBM, Department of Budget and Management. After dumaan sa DBM, i-consolidate naman ng NEP or National Expenditure Program. Kasama nito ang BSEP or Budget of Expenditures and Source of Financing bago isubmit sa President. Pagkatapos is mangyayari naman itong presentation of the Office of the President. So yun na nga, yung pag-submit nila sa President is tinatawag na presentation of the Office of the President. So the purpose the proposed budget is reviewed by Cabinet and President. So pagkatapos mag-submit ng agencies ng budget proposal, i-check ng DBM, Department of Budget Management, then i-consolidate ng NEP at BSEP, which is the National Expenditure Program and Budget of Expenditure and Source of Financing, i-present nila sa Office of the President. Then i-review ng President and ng Cabinet. After ma-approve ng President, ipa-finalize naman ito ng Department of Budget and Management or DBM. So pagkatapos ma-finalize, is tatawagin na siyang President Budget. So President Budget, sa President Budget ay meron tayong the President Budget contains the following documents which are intended to assist the Congress in their review and deliberate of the proposed national budget. So number 1 is the President Budget message. So this contains the President explanation of the country fiscal policy and budget properties. So yun, nakapaloob dito yung mga fiscal policies and budget priorities ng country or ng Pilipinas halimbawa. Then letter B is the National Expenditure Program or NEP. This contains the detail of all government entities proposed expenditure in the upcoming year. So yun na yun, nakapaloob dito yung mga proposed expenditures ng agencies or each agencies sa isang bansa or sa Pilipinas. Budget of expenditures and resource of financing or BSEP This contains the estimated expenditures accompanied by estimate of expected source of financing. So, nakapaloob dito yung expected budget and expected na paglalaanan ng budget. So, ang naman dyan is yung DSEP. Then, the other documents aim to provide further explanation of selected items in depth, example, details of key programs and projects, stopping summary, or so yung mga projects kung saan gagamitin or anong details ng project. So, relevant provision law, the President shall submit the proposed budget to the Congress with 30 days from the opening of every regular session. So, para ma-approve yung proposed budget ng President sa isang bansa is kailangan niyang masubmit lahat ng documents na yun within 30 days sa opening ng regular session ng Senate. Okay. Thank you sa pakikinig. Yun lamang po.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Yusuf Kabib from Group 3. And now, I'll be discuss the next topic, which is the budget legislation. So first, when we are asking money from our parents, they wanted to know first where the money is going. So tulad din po ng budget legislation, where the government wanted to know when the agency proposed a budget word about where the money is going. So in budget legislation, all the lawmakers are talking about the president's budget, where every agency proposes their programs and projects. That's why it is a big deal to every lawmaker and how they analyze and review the budget proposals, because they wanted to make that every penny or centimo that spent is for our country and for our fellow Filipinos. So, before the document that used to present a budget proposal is only consisting of numbers. That's why there are some agencies that can easily make money. Unlike now, every amount that was attached in the documents has all the results of who and how many people will benefit and has account of all programs and projects that must perform almost or must do. So, the documents that used to present a budget proposal are the National Expenditure Program, or what we call NEP, and the Budget Expenditure and Source of Finance, or what we call the BESF. With this document, that government now has the basis to choose what are the agencies that must increases their fund and decreases their fund. So, for example, the DOH proposed the budget proposal for these lab tools and their medical machines. And the government says it is what we must put on budget on to create vaccine and to identify what COVID causes to the human.
Budget approval is a critical financial management process that enables business to spend money wisely and stay within expense boundaries. Expected sales, seasonal fluctuation, market trends, and business goals are some of the points on which budget planning is done. Ang budget approval daw is yan ang critical na proseso sa pagninegosyo ng mga pamamahalaan, dapat marunong kang gumastos dito ng pera at matalino kang negosyante at marunong ka din magproseso sa pagpaplano ng budget. What is the budget approval process in the Philippines? These are four phases. Compare the Philippines budget process specifically. Number 1, budget preparation. Number 2, budget legislation, budget execution, accountability. Ang bawat process dito ay hiwalay sa iba, ngunit dahil nasasapawan ng mga ito sa pagpapatupad ng budget of this year. How to prepare a budget? Number 1, calculate your net income. Its total amount of money earned, then subtract expenses such as taxes and interest payment. For the individual net income in the money you actually get from your paycheck. Number 2, less monthly expenses. These are the list. Housing, utilities, vehicles and transportation costs, groceries, toiletries, and other essential items. Internet cable and streaming service, cell phone. Number 3, level fixed and variable expensive. The expenses generally cost the same amount each month, such as rent, mortgage payments, or car payments. Number 4, determine average monthly cost for each expense. Add all the numbers together for each month and then divide them by the total amount of months. Number 5, make adjustment. A slight change made to something to make it fit work better or be more suitable, or the act of making such a change. How to create a budget proposal. Describe your project objective. To introduce your project budget proposal, start with an overview of your project. Objective summaries, cost element, break down costs, provide a cost summary, submit for approval. That's all. Thank you.
The relation guidelines of BEDS. The BDM, they issue the guidelines of the relation utilization funds which the various agencies submit. There the budget, the equation, the documents, the BEDS. The BED summaries of agencies the fiscal year plans, the performance target, including the following: A. The fiscal financial plan. B. The monthly cash of program. C. The estimate of monthly income. And D. The list of obligations that are not there during the given relief. Ang Department ng Budget ng Management ng BEM ay naglalabas ng alintunin sa paglalabas at paggagamit ng mga pondong panggagamitan ng mga budget analyzation documents ng BUD. Ang mga dokumento ay ito ay nagsisilbi ng batayan para sa paglalaban o paggastos ng pondo na pamahalaan. Dagdag pa rito, ito ang iba't ibang hangin na kinakailangan mag-submit budget equation na budgeting sa BED at sa BEM. Ang related ay kinakailangan ng plano pagkaatas ng industry. So, magamit ng mga nilalangan pondo. Kakatulong namang ang mga dokumento ito ay natiyak ng transaksyon o pananagutan at salpuyan na pamahalaan ng pagpubliko ng pananamit. Mahalaga para sa mga asensya ng sumusunod na alintunin. Ito ay upang mabisang pamahalaan at katunguhan ng mga pagkukulang o pangangalahan. A. The basic question documents BED summarizes agency fiscal years, plans, and performance target in the inclusions. Physical and financial plan. Binabalagkas nito ang mga layunin ng target asensya para sa mga taong pananampin sa mga layunin pareho ng physical gawa. Halimbawa, bilang mga proyekto ay natapos ng mga serbisyong binigay at mga paglalaan ng mga pananala. Halimbawa, ang paglalaan ng hard budget at iba't ibang aktibidad. Sa monthly cash program, ito ay dokumento. Ito ang detalidad ng mga sasang cash inflow of flow. Siyensya ng buwan, ang bantayan ng buwan, taon na pananabi o nakakatulong ito sa pagpaplano at pagmamahalan ng mga dayo ng salapi upang matiyak naman ang mga pondo ay nagagamit kapag kailangan. Implement of the monthly income. Nagbibigay ito ng pagtatayak ng isang kita o dayon tuloy at ikita asensya para sa mga bawat pondo. Kabilang ang mga pagkukulang tulad ng mga gawa o servisyo at ibang tang-ayo ng nakita. Place of the obligation not yet doing of the dadago. Inita ng mga natitirang obligation sensya ng tumong ngunit hindi dapat parin o hilingin. Tumutulong ito sa pagsusubaybay ng mga pananagutan at obligation ng mga sensya upang matiyak ang napapanahon pagbabayad at wastong paggamit ng budget. Ang mga NGS ay gumaganap ng pamahalaan, tungkulin ng pamahalaan, paggawa ng katarap, pagtutupad ng mga batas, regulation o paghahati ng mga serbisyo sa iba't ibang sektor upang sibihan ng mga pangangailangan ng mga publiko o siguluyod ng tungkulin sa pamahalaan. Local Government Units, LGU. Autonomous Region, ito ang rehiyon ay tiyak sa mga antas na sariling pamahalaan o mga kapangyarihan patas ng ipinakaloob ng bansa pamahalaan. Kabilang sa mga halimbawa ng Autonomous Region, Muslim Mindanao, ang arm of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region, Muslim Mindanao. B. The Province, ito ay yung mga desisyon ng administrasyon ng bansa na paninimula ng mga isang gobyerno at mga sariling posisyon ng mga batas. Ang mga lalawigan ay naghati ng mga munisipalidad at lungsod. The component content. Ito yung mga lungsod na bahagi ng isang probinsya. Mayroong silang sariling mga opisyal o mga institusyon ng mga lokal pamahalaan. Ngunit ang ilalim ng administrasyon ng lalawigan.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Basiri Jankala. This is our the continuous of budget execution. Number 9, allotment. This is unauthorized issue by the DBM to NGS to incur obligation for specified amounts contained in a legislative appropriation in the form of budget release documents. So, allotment, this is the obligation of specified content in legislative, and is also this is refer the obligation of authority. On the other hand, the allotment is the process setting something that you get or precise. So this is the following are the documents used the releasing allotments the government agencies. Number 1, General Appropriation Act Release Documents or GAARD. Number 2, Special Allotments Release Order or SARO. And number 3, General Allotment Release Order or GARO. Number 10, Incurrence of Obligation. The incurrence of obligation, government agencies incur obligation which will be paid by government entity entering into contracts, hiring of personnel, and purchase of supplies, and etc. So the incurrence of obligation insurance, that will be the insurance by person, like example is entering into contracts, hiring of personnel, purchase of supplies, and etc. And number 11, Disbursement Authority. The DBM issues disbursement authority of the government entities. This is the point where the government entities obtain access to the government funds. This is the following documents used the releasing disbursement authority to government agencies. Number 1 is Notice of Cash Allocation. This is our cash application and NCA. Number 2 is Notice of Transfer of Allocation. Number 3 is Non-Cash Availment Authority. Number 4, Cash Disbursement Sailing. So that will be all.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Jetro Kaykaron. So let us proceed to the responsibility accounting. Responsibility accounting. It is a system of providing cost and revenue information over which a manager has direct to control of. Ibig sabihin, dito sa responsibility accounting, dito natin malalaman yung mga details ng cost and revenue. Yung kung magkano yung mga nagagastos or magkano yung mga kinikita ng isang organization or ng isang company. Na ang kumokontrol nito naman is ang mga managers. Ang ibig sabihin kasi class ng responsibility accounting, ina-account mo or ito yung way to measure the performance of the lower level of management na binibigay ni top level management na mga responsibilities. Ang tinutukoy natin dito sa lower level of management is yung mga managers, di ba? Yung mga divisional manager. Nadidelegate kasi sa kanila yung mga ilang mga responsibilities. So, ibig sabihin, meron silang kinokontrol. Meron din silang mga ginagawang decision making sa mismong mga department nila. Okay. Responsibility accounting requires the identification of a responsibility centers between controllable and non-controllable costs. Dito naman sa responsibility accounting, dito natin ma-identify yung mga responsibility centers between controllable and non-controllable costs. Sa isang responsibility accounting kasi sa isang responsibility accounting system ay hinahati mo dito yung organization into responsibility centers, and these responsibility centers are given autonomy so that you can evaluate them based on certain criteria. So hinahati mo ang iyong organization into, first is the cost center, revenue center, profit center, and investment center. So sa isang cost center class, you only keep track of cost. Ang example nito ay ang legal department or maintenance department, kung saan cost lang yung tinatrack mo dito kasi they don't sell anything, di ba? So yan ay isang cost center. Pangalawa, So, hinahati mo din or meron ka ding tinatawag na revenue centers. Sa revenue centers, you only track the revenue. Okay? Ang example nito is mainly is the sales department na it's very important to measure the performance in terms of sales. Okay? Tapos meron din pong parts ng organization that you delegate as profit centers. Etong profit centers class, ang tinatrack natin dito or ang tinatrack mo dyan is the revenue and yung cost nila. For example, meron kang certain geographic location or may isang branch na nasa kabilang area. Now, to measure that branch, best is to track the revenues of that branch and the expenses of that branch also. Okay? And lastly, meron ding mga investment centers kung saan tinatrack mo dito ang mga revenues, costs, pati ang investments mo in terms of assets na nilagay mo doon. And yan na yung mga subsidiaries and product lines, which is how much the revenues and cost of that product line. Tsaka magkano ba yung ininvest mo doon. Okay? So, these are the responsibility centers in your organizations. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig.